talk to Rachel in New York. You're on the air.
Hi. I just wanted to let you know that one of the things that has been going on lately that is not being reported is that many people up here in New York on Wall Street are withdrawing their 401ks.
Actually, I have seen that in the news. The word is getting out, but it's not a big national story because of Bloomberg and other reports that the federal government is ordering private pension funds to, quote, invest in failed banks. I mean, since when can the government order, because they have regulatory threats if they don't? See, they can selectively enforce. Max Keiser, break that down.
Right. Well, 401k accounts are the retirement accounts. People squirrel away money every month with their employer. Now, if they're liquidating those accounts, what's not being clear here is either it's because of duress and they need that money because they're going bankrupt and they have to draw down their savings, or two, they fear tax hikes coming and the tax advantages of the 401k evaporate, so why not take that money out and put it somewhere in another institution that you don't have the same kind of risks? Now, I think what the caller is referring to is that people are removing money from their 401ks as an offensive measure, not a defensive measure, as a way to understand that they need to take more control of their financial well-being and to put what they thought was money safely put away into other alternative investments, possibly other currencies, other countries, into gold, etc.
Well said, Max Keiser. Anything else, Rachel?
No, that's all. I just wanted to say many of the people we're speaking to say they rather have their money now than wait until they're 58 years old when it won't be there anymore. They'll take the tax hit now.
Yeah, no, that's accelerating. Good point. Let's talk to Stephen in California. You're on the air.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, sir.
Pleasure to be on your show. I'm a first-time caller and kind of a first-time listener. And as a young person living in today, I become educated on your show, and you instill the passion/interest in government. And I was wondering, how a person in my position, my family has no legacy and all that, how do I get into that sort of thing?
Well, look, in high school, in college, they make it boring. It's government. It's like Alcatraz or something, or it's like some, island of Dr. Moreau. It's some imaginary thing far off. You've got to be involved in government, because if you don't, it's going to get taken over by shysters, and they're going to rob the hell out of you and hire a bunch of uniformed thugs to enforce their corruption. It's called tyranny. And so we've became the wealthiest country in the world because we had a small government and we were on top of things and we allowed people to keep most of their wealth because it was their God-given right. Now we're becoming the center of evil because our wealth has been used to dominate the globe and build an empire, and no one is as enslaved as people inside the empire. And so people are waking up and deciding, I better get involved in government. Then they go get involved in government and they find that for those that did get involved, there's a fake left-right choice, which is meant to further confuse them. Okay, they follow the yellow brick road. They've gotten to the Emerald, Palace. They've gone in, and there's this big flaming head telling them, "I am the Great Oz." And the next level is going, "No, Republicans and Democrats, you're not." Toto pulls the curtain back, or the 2-year-old points out the emperor has no clothes. Same analogy, same archetype. You pull it back, and it's a pot-bellied little demon goblin back there that's scared to death of you. If we don't pull back the curtain and arrest the goblin, it's over. Max Keiser.
Well, if you go back, you see, this is a very interesting question because it's a very interesting inflection point, and especially for a young person. Now, if you remember, Ronald Reagan said, "Government is the problem." And he said this under the influence of thinkers like Milton Friedman, who believed that the market could solve all problems. Now in 2010, people are saying, you know what, the market is actually the problem, and it's creating an incredible amount of problems on top of problems. So if that's true, then does that mean we're going to ask ourselves or look at the possibility that there might be some saving grace in the idea of having a government?
But here's the next problem, Max. Let me comment.
The fathers of the United States created a government. That's what they got this country started on. They didn't start with a hedge fund. They started with a constitution.
No, I agree with you, but again, to expand on that, under the Constitution, Congress controls the issuance of currency and credit, not private bankers. So the confusion is going to be with the public you're going to have the private bankers pose as the solution with a type of regulation that is only going to empower them even more. So how do you get past that?
Well, first, so my question is, there's a lot of rhetoric, and especially in the libertarian camp, that government has nothing to offer. And, I think that is a self-defeating position. There has to be some role of government, first of all. So the government, therefore, does not become a dirty word. There is a role for government. That's step number one. Step number two is, as you say, it's all in the Constitution. They recognize gold and silver as the only constitutionally recognized form of money and currency. If that's true, then all of the fiat currency, fractional reserve, derivative market scamming that's going on has to be taken completely out of the system.
We've got to go back to the Constitution.
That's right.
Stay there. We're going to talk to Ian, Steve, Kevin, and others. And Stephen, I'm going to try to answer your question. What if I say I'm not one of your slaves? What if I say I will never surrender? We're going to continue with calls in this segment and the next, and then Gary Franchi of Restore the Republic with Don't Tread on Me is coming on. I want to play Miss Arizona, or Miss Oklahoma, talking about Arizona, says she supports Arizona law. We're going to talk about states' rights coming up. But before I go any further with Max Keiser, I want to simplify this because this gets confusing for people because it is so simple. Sometimes the simplest things are confusing. I'm against anything big and monolithic, whether it's government or hedge funds that are bigger than any government money-wise because they just created themselves, as Thomas Jefferson warned they would, a blank check to take over the planet. To paraphrase Jefferson, he said, you could take out private central bankers, but if you ever let them back in within one day, they'll buy up the whole world with fake credit they produce. So the problem is with a, quote, free market is it's not free market when the CIA with an inner coterie of private banks gives themselves unlimited trillions and uses their own regulatory power to shut down their competition. And so we need government to protect the true free market and to have rules against counterfeiting, as Max Keiser said. Counterfeiting is illegal. If I opened up a fake company, started selling stock, claiming it was in gold mines I didn't own, it would be a fraud. Well, it's a step past that with the fractional reserve banking, with the derivatives, with these fake insurance companies certifying it, and then taxpayers having to bail it out. So that is the issue. The, quote, free market's being demonized by the bankers themselves because they want a global controlled market that they control. And so it's until the public becomes educated on this, it's just going to get worse. Again, MaxKeiser.com is his website. Very informative stuff. You can watch him on RT, as well as Press TV. Does weekly television shows that are some of the most popular on those channels. But let's go back to your phone calls. Briefly answering Steve's question. Stephen, I don't know how you get involved, quote, in government. Start fighting tyranny, form your own group, go to city council, speak out, start a blog, and you'll learn and get better as you go. Ian in England, you're on the air with questions for Max Keiser.
Hi there.
Hello, Albion. This is Airstrip 2 calling. Over. Go ahead.
How are you doing, Alex?
Good.
Good to be on. It's good to hear Max Keiser. I've always been an interested listener to his opinions, and of course your own. With regards to the British parliamentary catastrophe that's been going on, I mean, people think that they can't make a difference, but we've demonstrated that we've effectively created a constitutional crisis here. There was nobody who was willing to back up the parliamentary process. And I think that's certainly a statement which people can take a little bit of pleasure from, if not a great deal of influence from. So it demonstrates the fact that these people don't have any kind of mandate to operate the way they have been doing.
That's right. All three of the big parties are hated. Your take on what's happening in England, Max?
Yeah, they did. They triggered a crisis, a constitutional crisis, as your caller calls it. And because in the UK, they become very adept at strategic voting. So everybody on the web kind of shares information to try to swing local elections in a strategic way. So they might vote for somebody they don't really want if it's strategic toward a bigger goal. And the people have really organized themselves in this way. Now, it's interesting, when the new coalition started, this Tory Liberal Democrat coalition, it was very interesting because they was a coalition government, didn't have a majority. They had a problem because in the House of Lords, they didn't have enough lords to back up their proposals. So what they did yesterday is they simply, with a stroke of a pen, increased the number of lords in the House of Lords by 100. Now, for anyone in the U.S., that would send a chill down your spine, because of course we fought a war to get rid of it, to escape the lords in the House of Lords, but they're still active and they're still part of a major government, the U.S. ally. That's where the Bank of England was established in 1694, which is
plus they're not hereditary lords. They're not hereditary. 5 more minutes with Max Keiser. Straight ahead, more of your calls. Thanks, Ian.